With only 2 queens on the board, this position would be considered a draw. But in this position, white is up a pawn on g7. So what would you do here as white to win? Would you give some checks with the queen? Or would you promote the pawn? And if you promoted the pawn, what are you going to promote to? Well, let's find out. As I told you before, 2 queens on the board only, that will result in a draw. So playing a move like queen to e6 check, queen to d6 check will result in black taking the pawn on g7, and that would be a draw. So we don't play check. Now we need to promote this pawn. But what are we going to promote the pawn to? If you thought about promoting to a queen, then this would also result in a draw. You might say, well, how? We have 2 queens on the board against only 1. This has to be winning. This would be checkmate. But black has a really cool move here. Black has this move queen g4, sacrificing the queen and giving a check. Black is trying to take one of our queens, and we can't take any. If we take with this queen, as you can see right here, we are covering all the squares, and that would be stalemate. And if we take with the other queen, I mean, that's the exact same thing, right? So this is a really cool tactic by black. So that's why we cannot promote to a queen. Okay, some of you might say, well, obviously we promote to a knight, because a knight, it's going to be with a check, and we have to make the most forcing moves first. But then black will move. You might say, well, we know one more check. Black moves again. We have a check. But this is still a draw, because we need the queen to be off the board. But if we got the queen off the board, we only have a knight, and the knight can never checkmate the king. How can we checkmate the king? Well, we need a king and what? King and rook only. King and rook. That's why we don't promote to a knight. We promote to a rook. So the rook is to evade the check, which is this one, because then it will not be stalemate. Black will be able to move. And a rook is we trying to trade off the queens, because if we manage to do that, a king and rook will be able to win this endgame, right? So now, what would black do here? Black will try a trick and play this move queen to f7. Now, if we take the queen right away, then the queen and the rook are stalemating the enemy king, and that will not be cool, right? So, of course, after this move, we can play a check. And as you can see, black is forced to block with the queen. Here you can just easily simplify if you want to, or you can play a check and then win the queen. The king will still be able to move. All right. So that's if they play this move queen to f7 check. But there's also another move, which is queen to f4 check. And we play, for example, king to a5. And here they play, for example, queen to a5 check. And then we move the king again. And here they try to play some checks. They try to play this move queen to a5, queen to a1 check. We have to move the king. They play another check, and you might think this is going to be a draw because of repeated checks. Well, no. There's not going to be a repeat check, because you can go here, and after he tries to play another check, it doesn't matter what type of check, like check here, check there, there, all are going to be met with the same move, which is a queen to c6 check, forcing the queens off the board, and obviously with a rook and a king, that's going to be a winning endgame. And for example, queen to e5, the same thing, that would be a check, and we win the queen, or we trade the queen, sorry. And then if queen here, we do the same thing, we trade the queens, and that would be winning. Also, another line here that black can do is queen e4 check. We move our king away. Then he plays this move, queen to e1 check, right? And then we move the king to a6, and now they play the same thing, but again, we result in the same position where we trade the queens off the board, and with the king and rook, we'll be able to win this game. If you enjoy this complex position simplified, and I make daily videos on this channel, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching.